He is a well-traveled man in the world of media, and he joins me on the On to Something podcast. I'm Bryan Fenley. Tim Hines, executive producer of DEI and culture content at Yahoo. And in this conversation, we're going to learn about the finer elements that is Tim Hines as he looks at his life from the business side of things, but also the personal side of things. And I'm really looking forward to having this convo with you. Tim, thanks for doing this.
Hey, Brian, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate the invite.
So I saw for Halloween that you were wearing a beekeeper costume. And so I'm wondering, Tim, as we get started, why weren't you wearing that for our interview?
That actually fell together. That's the creativity. I'll push my own creativity. We had a neighbor hand us a bee costume for our daughter, who's 17 months, that her children had grown out of. And we were like, how can we make a bee costume work? And my wife went as a flower and I went as a beekeeper. So it worked out really well.
It was
the reason I'm not wearing it is because I wanted to rep both sides of now, which is my sports life, but also my DEI culture life now. So WNBA repping the WNBA today.
Oh, absolutely. And the WNBA continues to elevate as far as its exposure. TV ratings are going up there. And you have a lot of hats behind you, and it looks as if you're the guy that doesn't roll the bill. You like to wear these flat beak hats. So, is that correct?
They're all Boston. They're keepsakes of different times. My buddies and I, we do a lot of golf tournaments where we wear like matching outfits every summer, and so those are kind of remnants of different outfits. But they get worn once or twice, so that's probably more why they're not curved enough. So they probably have a slight curve, but they're not my everyday hats, to say the least.
How much credit do you give yourself in having a good golf game and a good performance on the golf course to the outfit that you're wearing that particular day?
You know what? I told you before this meeting that nothing was off the subjects, but I mean my golf game. Who are you talking to? No, I'm just kidding. It is. You feel good, play good is something I always say. You walk into, whether it's an interview like this or any like first day of school, it's kind of that mentality of walking in. Although with that being said, I have a $100 outfit and a 99-cent game. I am not there. It's fun to play though. It's if we want to do a walk and talk interview for the next one, I'm in.
Oh, I would love to do that, but we're not done talking golf. I know you want to sort of deviate somewhere else because, as you said, you have a 99-cent golf game. Let's say you got a 7-iron in your hand, you're in the rough, you're 160 yards from the flag, give or take. You're standing over the ball at address. What is going through your mind right then before you're hitting that shot? Or what is going through your mind, and what are you not thinking at the same time?
My mind's always going a million miles a minute, and in that instance, I am always trying to not. There's a million like elbow straight, lock that, thing. Don't, swing through, don't all those things that you're trying to remember to not embarrass yourself. But my best tip for anybody who plays golf or, especially the beginner guys is just, lock it all out and then just, do the thing that I always say we're all, because I play with my buddies. We were all athletes in high school and stuff back in our days. But just do the thing that comes naturally, just swing and concentrate on trying to hit that one spot. I'm always just trying to lock in on that first white of the ball and then just try to hit that every single time. I would say it's 50% of the time I'm good at it, but there is a lot going on in golf for a game where it's just the ball's right there. Baseball, you can say the pitcher was on today. Basketball, you can say that guy had me locked in, but the ball's just sitting there in golf. You got no excuses.
Really, really well said. Tim Hines is with me. I'm Bryan Fenley. So ideally, with golf, it's a muscle memory thing. And beyond golf, though, in the avenue of where you work now at Yahoo, and obviously you've worked at ESPN and other outlets beforehand, how do you feel like muscle memory might have come in handy for you at other steps of your career journey?
That's a great question. So my background and one of the things that brought me to Yahoo to do sports originally, when we launched the vertical with Adrian Wojnarowski back in, when was that, 2016, was live production. Yahoo, like ESPN, as you mentioned, NBC, Nesson back in Boston. Shout out Boston. It is a lot of having belief, knowing the things that and making decisions on the fly and just like dealing with those. If you can't have the time when we're coming back from commercial and somebody's audio cuts out and you don't have the feed anymore, you got to go with something else. You got to go with it. You got to know that your team's, prepared, and everyone's, it's muscle memory. It's those things that just kind of flow naturally. And it takes a lot to get to that point and having confidence that you're making the right decisions. But it is a repetition game. I think the more you do things, the more it feels comfortable. Doing my first live show, I probably had a heart attack. I don't even remember. I blacked out. But now I can do them, and you feel a little bit more in the saddle that you're in control of things.
So you're saying, Tim, the idea of having a gut feeling on something is learned, but how much of it is organic and naturally who you are beyond the repetition and the shows that you've done beforehand?
That's a great approach to that. I feel I knew what I wanted to do in life from a very early age. People that know me for a long time, I was the voice of the Hawks. That was my Waltham High School. I tried to announce baseball, football, basketball, girls basketball, anything that would let me have a press box. I was there. I was covering it. I knew I wanted to go to Emerson College as soon as I got in. I knew I wanted to go to ESPN since I was probably 5. These are just things that I think were part of who I am. I like to talk. I like to creatively solve problems. I like to lead. I love sports. I'm the youngest of 3 boys. I grew up wanting to play in the NBA, but I realized early that wasn't going to happen. So it's just kind of one of those things. It's like, if you can't do, you teach. I can't do, so I produce.
When did you realize that the NBA aspirations might not work out?
Oh, it's not, I got to remember back. It wasn't hard. I was a late bloomer to put it nicely. This voice didn't come along till probably my 20s. So physical, I was there. Every coach always used to say, your attitude, your mentally, you can see the game. But, once you get to the middle of high school levels and everyone else has kind of physically matured past you, I couldn't keep up. And so I think that's when I retired, probably my junior year, sophomore year, to the booth. And I've just been doing covering sports since then. So I won't age myself right now. If you look at my LinkedIn, you can see how old I am.
I love how you said that you retired essentially in high school. Like, I've never heard that used before. Retirement in high school. That to me is a new thing. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to learn new things in life. Yeah. And also with Tim Hines, who joins me here. You said very early on ESPN at 5 years old, that was a goal of yours. So how did you okay, maybe the visualization of the NBA didn't work out. But how, even when you were growing, you're 6, you're 7, you're 8 years old, visualizing working there one day, what did that look like in your everyday life?
It looked like Stuart Scott. It looked like Scott Van Pelt. It looked like Rich Eisen, Chris Berman, all those guys that were making sports fun. I know people now, they probably don't even remember the early days of Sports Center. It was tune-in broadcasts. Those guys were stand-up comedians who knew sports, and they made it entertaining. They made it fun. It made you want to be at that party. You know what I mean? It was like, I don't know who I have to talk to or what I have to do. You name the flaming hoops, I'll jump through them twice, and I was going to get there. And so that was kind of what I set myself out to do. And I got there early, and I was there for my first 6 years of my professional career, and I couldn't have planned for a better way to cut your teeth. The kids I was around, both the production assistants, the producers, the CPs, the talent, I work in remote shoots, live shoots, in studio stuff. I am the person I am today, and I have the ability that I have to produce because of the things that I learned in those first formative years of production at ESPN.
And during those years, you said the word that I was about to, the token word, formative, because you, along with so many, during that time you were there, so many people from that stage of ESPN have gone on to do incredible things.
Yeah.
And so it was such a tight-knit group, I can only imagine. But then it's like, oh, so-and-so is now doing this and so-and-so is doing that. It's got to be really exciting for you to see all the people who you worked with at that young age, cutting your teeth. And now essentially they're taking over the sports media landscape. You you said fun is obviously an MO to who you are. It's ingrained in you. It's your DNA. Life is supposed to be fun. What's most fun about being a dad?
Wow, I didn't think that question was going there. That was great. Yeah, I was thinking of the guys I wanted to give kudos to back in the day of all.
Well, that too. Let's go there.
Yeah.
Let's go there first. Let's do that.
I'm fine either way. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I could name the names, and the litany of the guys that you've had on this show is just a great start. It is impressive to see some of the guys, and it's not surprising. I don't want to. It's impressive because they've achieved great things, but it's not surprising. As I said, it's I would put my 5-year run of the people that came in and I worked with there against, I know, and I'm sure everyone at ESPN feels like their cast was the best cast, but it's like SNL crews, everyone kind of has their things. My 5 years there were just phenomenal. And I can't give enough credit to the people I worked with and the things that I learned there. Flash forward, I don't think hanging out with them at night made me a better parent, though. That is they're great guys, and they're also great parents in their own right. I'm kind of late to the parent game myself now. We just had our first last year daughter, Penny. We call her Penelope Penny, and it's a learning curve, just like it is. Like I was talking about live TV. You think you're prepared, and things change every day, and you just got to be ready to roll with the punches and make your decision and live with it, because the things that she's going to figure out on a day-to-day basis are not things that you can wake up being like, oh, today I'm going to know how to get scissors out of a 1-year-old's hands without bad things happening. Yeah, it's a trial and error. Granted, some days are better than others, but I wouldn't trade it for anything.
The name Penny, how much of that is attributed to Penny Hardaway?
0. It's attributed to Almost Famous Penny Lane. It was one of the first movies where I was just like, yes. And Kate Hudson, hi if you were watching. But yeah, it was my wife wouldn't let me name her Penny Lane because that's too on the nose, but Penelope gets cut down to Penny. It's fine.
There's things that you are doing in sort of running the house, but honestly, how does your wife really run things, and how does she run you, essentially telling you what to do, and really, honestly, Tim, putting you in your place?
Oh yeah, she's gonna love this question. I met my wife at ESPN. She was one of the production assistants in my last year or two. She worked on College Football Live and College Game Day, and she's very much like me, a Type A personality that's gonna get ish done. I don't know if we can swear on this podcast, so
you can do whatever you want. Anything is
welcome. But no, she is just like me. She is a creative, determined, smart individual who is better than me at a lot of things, and we pick each other slack up when we need to, but there isn't anything I wouldn't trust her with. It's kind of like marry the person that you want to be in a foxhole with, and if push came to shove and it was worst case scenario, Brittany would be the person that I would want by my side.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so awesome to hear. Tim Hines is with me. I'm Bryan Fenley, and now you have a 17-month-old, and that has been a wonderful addition to your life. In being a parent, in being married to your wife, how has that changed you and even allowed you to look at the industry life differently?
As we were talking, it's like, you can make all the plans you want, and then life has its own way of kind of doing its thing. We've had a number of conversations where we kind of line up our life and like, this is what we're going to do. And then, life happened. We were together in Boston at Nesson talking about, buying a house, starting a family. And then I got the opportunity to come to Yahoo to produce Woj and Shams and Chris Haynes and all the guys at Yahoo to build up. Yahoo had always been out of the West Coast office. And so they wanted a New York presence. And so Ryan Dornbush, shout out Ryan, was a great leader. And I met him producing the Olympics at NBC. He's like, if I'm allowed to bring in one person to run this office, I want it to be you. We did that. We created up some NBA draft shows, some NFL draft shows. We built that New York office up. It was great. But then COVID happened. And so we went from, we're going to move to New York and live in New York, and this is going to be our life. And we're going to build up this thing and whatever. And just when we're looking at houses in the New Jersey area, COVID happens, and we go move to Ann Arbor, where her family lives here. And then work became fully remote. So now we live here. It's been 2.5, 3 years, which is hard to believe that it's been 3 years since COVID. But yeah, so it's kind of every time you think that you got everything figured out, just know that you don't, and something's going to change. And like I said before, if there's anyone that you want to handle the curveballs with of life, and you find that person, then just throw a ring on it and just start things over.
I love that. I love that. The things that you have figured all out, they have to be there.
Zero.
There's not even one. There's got to be something out there that you
Ah,
totally figured out.
I figured out myself. I know who I am. And I think that that's very helpful in a lot of life decisions. Somebody once said to me, you can be the smartest person in the room or the funniest person in the room, but you can't be both. And I think that that was very intuitive into how to approach work. As I always like to be myself, I bring that fun to the table. But sometimes if you want to be a leader and you want to make that next jump, you got to decide when it's time to do the professional things and when it's time to do the fun things. And you got to find that balance. And I think that's kind of one thing that I've been able to do over the last 20 years of working in the industry is knowing who I am, and it's making it easy to make decisions about my future and my personal life and my professional life.
When did you feel that you got that firm grasp finally of who you were?
You know what? I think it came probably around in my 30s. I think I thought I knew things in your 20s. I think everyone thinks that they've figured it all out in their 20s. And you're kind of just, maybe you're a little bit more self-assured than you should be. And I think that that's important, though. I think that when you're in your 20s, it's important to roll the dice on yourself. Sometimes, things aren't always going to be 401k job with security and whatever. And you got to know that I'm going to make this move and it's going to work out because I have the skills to make this happen. So I think that was my 20s. And I think I made some good decisions betting on myself. And then in your 30s, I think as families come along and, your decisions that affect your business life also affect your personal life. Like right now, you got to talk like I can't just uproot and leave. It's not just me now. It's a family, it's a home, it's things like that. I think those things definitely affect you. But I think knowing myself now, as I'll turn 40 later this year, ouch, it's a long way.
That's the new 25 to me.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
I don't feel it's a number, right? It's just a set. So, but yeah, I kind of, it's always a learning curve, and you're never gonna, I think, be fully done learning who you are. But I think having a grasp and knowing the things that are important to you will help you in the long run.
Learning curve can be that of being a dad as well. And as you see Penny grow, what do you want to make sure that Penny learns from you, that she gains from you to take with her for the rest of her life?
It's a great question, Bryan. A lot of the stuff that I do with now, dealing with the DEI content at Yahoo and the stories that I pitch and the stories that we tell are things that I want my daughter to be proud of. She sees me being a person that is open and accepting and understanding, empathetic. I think any of those qualities make a genuine human being. I think people can be successful financially and be hollow personally. And I think that is it's a road that, some choose. And I'm not a judger. I'm not trying to make somebody better than somebody else because of certain things. But it is a high quality to know someone who's reached those levels of both financial stardom and personal stardom. Kevin Agandi is a guy that reached all the levels that you could possibly want to reach, and he is the nicest person in the history of time. I can't say enough things about Kevin, but there's a million guys like that out there, and women like that out there that just kind of they understand what it's like to be a good person, and that's more. I think that's the most important quality. So I think if my daughter knows that she's going to sit up for an elderly lady that gets on the bus when there's no seats, then I've done my job.
That's really powerful stuff. Tim Hines is with me. I'm Bryan Fenley. So you're leaving and are leaving this indelible mark on Penny and the industry. How much time do you allow for self-reflection in just kind of stepping back? And you've got you're juggling your work, you're juggling your family life and your friends and everything else that's a part of who you are. When, if, or maybe you don't, when do you find yourself most prone to looking outside of yourself at what you are and what you've become and the man you've become?
It's a deep question, Bryan. I think it was a time during COVID. I think everyone kind of had that long stretch of time where you're just alone by yourself. The ones that are close to you, we weren't really socializing, and it kind of gave us that time some, positively, some negatively, to kind of look inward. And some people didn't like themselves being alone. They needed that social thing to kind of block out those thoughts. And some people are comfortable in their own skin. I think that's it's important for both mental health and just in general life stresses to kind of have those conversations both with yourself and with others if you're not feeling a certain way. I think that in those last couple of years, we've gone through a lot of things. We've purchased a house. I've changed my job. Had my daughter. It's kind of I am happy with the person that I am, and I look back at a lot of the things that we talked about in this conversation. Everyone's like, "Oh, I would do things differently." I love college sports. College football, college basketball. I went to a D3 school that has a better drama program than even a baseball team. It's kind of, but I wouldn't ever not go to Emerson, because Emerson led me to ESPN, which introduced me to my wife and those friend groups that we're talking about. And it's kind of one of those things where, if you're comfortable and you like the life that you're making for yourself, and being strong and in your convictions, then things are going to work out. And I don't want to say that, every decision I've ever made has been a good decision. That's not 100% even remotely true. But I think that if you're making those decisions for the right reasons, then things will shake out in the end.
You summed it up so perfectly. And as we wrap up this conversation, I gleaned so many things from what you said. From one, you're nice to yourself. And in an industry where we can badger ourselves, and obviously nobody's perfect. We all have those moments of self-critique where we're really hard on ourselves, but there really is a value, as I'm listening to you, to entrusting in you and being nice to yourself during maybe critical moments of your life, and just not always second guessing, but just saying, look, I'm proud. And it's not boastful. It's just, hey, I'm happy with what I've done, and I'm proud to the effect of, like, I've done some cool things. I've met some wonderful people. It led me to, for you, your wife and your child eventually. So there's all these things. And what I notice is a realness about you that I think shines. And you might have said that you can't be smart and funny at the same time. But I think in this conversation, we were able to meld those two things together and get both of them out of you. So I call that a job well done. Tim Hines, I'm Bryan Fenley, man. Thanks for being a guest and doing this.
Bryan, this was great, man. I look forward to watching it and all your future episodes. You're doing a great job, and I appreciate it.